Good evening, everyone, and a quick build update. This is the Zvezda Mig-23 MLD. One of my favourite Soviet jets, the Mig-23. I actually really like it. I know it wasn't the greatest jet ever, but I do think the MLD was particularly underrated. The aircraft was designed for acceleration. It wasn't designed for turning. But the MLD had better turn performance thanks to these dog tooth leading edges, although it sacrificed a bit of speed, same with the chaff and flare. The Zvezda kit is quite good. It's not one of their newest kits, so it's not up to the standard of their latest models. It's kind of an Italeri standard kit. As you can see, there's a fair bit of putty needed, particularly around the top here where the front section joins the body and around the intake. However, not bad at all. I really like the MLD. I think it's mean and purposeful. The wings do move on this model, and this will be finished in the colours of What If Marmatian, because I don't model Russian aircraft. But yeah, the MiG-23 I think was one of the best looking Soviet aircraft. I really like it. I think it's a gem of a fighter aircraft. I know, like I said, it didn't get the best sort of reviews, and I think in part that was due to the weapons. So these are the R-23 missiles. We've got an infrared one on the right and a radar one on the left, and they weren't the best performing. They were equivalent to the Sparrows. Now, of course, at the time, the Soviet doctrine called for heavy ground control interception. So there wasn't really the freedom for fighter aircraft to go and do their thing. Very strictly controlled. And I think these got a bad reputation between the Israelis and the Syrians in 1982. When you actually break it down and look at it, the lessons that the Soviets took from the Vietnam War were very different to the lessons that the Americans took from the Vietnam War. So the Americans really went to town on air superiority fighters like the F-15 and the F-14. Of course, then the Soviets did react with the Su-27 and the light fighter, the MiG-29. But certainly in the MiG-23, they took away different lessons. And I think doctrinally, they weren't as flexible as the Israelis, and certainly didn't have the airborne early warning control that the Israelis had from the Hawkeyes. So when we think of MiG-23s versus the Israeli aircraft in 1982, we need to think of the bigger picture, and we need to look at what the Israeli Hawkeyes and the Israeli radar systems were doing. Now, being an MLD, it does come with R-60M missiles, short-range missiles, and I'll be fitting 4 of these and 2 R-23s. It does, of course, have the Mig-23 cannon underneath there. The instructions for this Zvezda kit are very simple, and they are not the most accurate. The last thing I need to add is I need to add some strakes here onto the pitot, because that was the main difference on the MLD, the dogtooth on the wing, and strakes on the pitot. And what the strakes did is they disrupted the airflow over the aircraft as it came back, working in conjunction with the dogtooth, which enabled it to hit 8.5 G. And that was really a very crucial part of the MLD. And of course, Zvezda haven't modelled the pitot with those strakes, so I need to correct that. But I hope that gives a good idea of what I'm working on. Take care, everyone. Goodbye. And here we go. That's the strakes added onto the pitot. Now, these, like I said, were very important aerodynamically. I'll try and get the camera to focus. They're quite small bits. I've just cut them from plastic card. But what that did is it broke up the airflow as it went over the nose into those dog tooths. And that gave, like I said, up to 8.5 G of turn performance, which when you think of the F-15 and F-16 at the time, the models that would have been then, the F-16, of course, was sustained rate of turn would have outperformed it. But the Tomcat would have been limited at that point to 7.3 G in operational service. So again, a lot of people bashed the MiG-23, but the MLD wasn't terrible. Like I said, the main thing that was advancing at the time was, of course, Western missile technology. compared to these R23s, quickly rendered them quite obsolete. Airborne early control was advancing for the West, and of course the Soviet Union was fast running out of money after Chernobyl. So I'll get this painted, and I hope that helps anyone that's building this. If you do get hold of this kit from Zvezda, it's one of their earlier ones. Raised panel lines, unfortunately, but I do enjoy it, and this is the second one I built, and I like it as a kit.